The Drazzy Show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Drazzy Show. I hope you guys are doing well. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all that. I'm not going to get into it, but I have two very special guests here with me today. Today I have Mr. Peter Phelps. Mr. Peter Phelps, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm a psychotherapist, work in London, and I also work internationally on the internet. Mm-hmm. I specialise in anything emotional, psychological, relationship issues.
Yeah, this guy will put you to sleep from some hypnosis.
I do hypnosis as well, yeah. I've been doing this for about 22 years now.
Jeez, that's a long time. And then we have Aunty Jenny. Aunty Jenny, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Aunty Jenny and ex-foster carer with children with SEN, ex-teacher, young people and children with SEN, and ex-teacher of adults with SEN. So I've always been in the caring profession.
What's SEN?
Special educational needs.
Oh, right, okay.
It covers everything.
A wide range of it.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I'm sure the two of you are wondering why I have Mr. Peter Phelps here and Aunty Jenny here. And the reason being is because Aunty Jenny, when you were on my show last time, you talked about disciplining children. Mm-hmm. I'm going to play you the clip so you can remember. And Mr. Peter Phelps disagreed with some of your, some of the points that you made. So let me just get the...
Everything was free. I had all the games, all the food, ice cream, everything.
Yeah.
To slap up a couple of children. But they know that, you know, because I'm old school, like, don't send you, if you don't want me to slap your child, keep your child away from me. Because I'm going to treat your child just like how I treat my own children. Yeah. If my son, he was just like, Mama, what age are you?
So that, and then
I stand by what I say.
Peter went in the comments and said, I have to disagree with Aunty Jenny's methods of discipline. Use of physical violence is unacceptable and teaches children that it's an acceptable way of imposing your will on another person or expressing your anger. And you went back and forth. I'll put the thread on the screen because I don't want to read the whole thing. So I thought, okay, it would be interesting to have this conversation. And the reason being, there are many forms of disciplining children and raising children. Some will agree, some will disagree. So we'll never come to like a common kind of agreement. We'll have to agree to disagree, but I still want to hear you guys' views. So...
Your smile.
Do you know, it's because I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm going to say what I think first before we get into your views, yeah? I was raised with a little smack on the hand. I'm not going to lie. I was raised with a little slap across the face. And I was a mischievous child. And I knew from young, when I was testing my adults. I knew when I was testing my parents, right? So I kind of grew out of that mentality by knowing that my parents found it disrespectful. And by be consciously aware of what disrespect is, right? And I'm not going to lie, a couple of smacks made me learn that. And the thing was with me, a lot of people don't know, I grew up in Ghana. I was born here, but I went to Ghana back and forth for many, many years. And in the Ghanaian school system, they cane you.
Barbados too.
I got caned by teachers.
And they got belts and everything.
Yeah.
In Barbados they do.
I got the cane. Not the belt, but the cane. It's like a long stick. Got the cane. And that kind of made me like take education seriously and kind of made me kind of like not disrespect my elders. In Ghana, to disrespect your elders is like disrespecting God himself, in all honesty. But that kind of discipline is what taught me that. So I kind of, I'm 50-50 with Aunty Jenny and yourself. And the reason why I am, because there's aspects of it that can be considered a bit violent, that can be considered a bit kind of like traumatic for the person growing up. But then there's aspects of it where if the person isn't implementing that discipline with some kind of personal intention, it can be good for the child's development. So I'm 50-50. So I just thought I'd let you guys know that. So I'm going to be hearing both your views and I might learn something here. So who wants to start first?
I was right with until you said slap in the face.
Yeah, I can't lie, a little slap in the face.
Like that.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Other than that.
I've exposed my dad.
Yeah. And I just think that a smack in the hand and being beaten by your parent with a belt or a shoe, that's totally different. I don't think there's anything wrong with a smack. But a beating, my son's never been beat. And I don't agree with beating children.
I definitely disagree with it. Definitely
no belt, no cane, no nothing like that. I think I got beaten in Barbados once and I didn't agree with it at school. Well, because I was new there and I got on the bus and I went past the school and I was late. So all the people that were late stood at the front and they all got beat.
When you say they all got beat by the teacher?
But the headmaster, they come up with a strap and everybody got one strap over their back. One strap.
That kind of reminds me
And I
of
just
my
thought,
school.
well, that weren't fair because you didn't listen to what I said. It wasn't my fault, it was that boss. I'm English, you can't do that to me.
I had that mentality too when I went to Ghana. I thought, hold on, I'm a UK-born Ghanaian. You can't beat me.
Yeah.
But I think they went for me even more.
Yeah, because you're rude, but you answer back. I knew never to answer back, but I thought it.
Yeah. So, Mr. Phelps.
Yeah. So that experience of getting a strap at school, how did it make you feel towards the head teacher when you did it?
I just thought to myself, I thought everybody was stupid. I was that kind of child. I just thought that I was more intelligent than anybody else. And
So-
something, I still do sometimes.
You thought he was stupid,
Yeah,
and
because
it made you resent him.
I just thought, and I didn't resent him because I knew he had a job to do and everybody else deserved to get beat because they were late. It wasn't my fault that I was late.
That's interesting. So everybody else deserved to get beat.
Yeah, there were regular people that were late. They had no reason to be late. Let me explain something. In Barbados in the old days, you had like buses, old buses.
Yeah.
And you had a long wooden seat, like a pew, along. So all along the bus, there was a pew. Open sides. So the sides of the road was open, but you couldn't get out.
Yeah.
On the other side, everybody climbed in, filtered down. But if it was raining, they had these like tarpaulin that they wind down. I couldn't see where I was going. So I didn't know where the bus stop was. So if you had asked me, why are you late? But it was just a thing that you had to be there at that time. And if you were late, you got strapped.
Yeah.
But I just thought, you didn't explain. You didn't allow me to explain.
So
If you'd allowed me to explain, and then I don't think that I should have got slapped.
So you think in that case, that's when that person was abusing that kind of
His
method of
authority.
discipline.
Because
Yeah.
I think that if you hit a child when you're angry, it's abuse.
Yeah.
And I think to give someone a smack without explaining before, after, or during why,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna smack someone, don't be angry.
So you reckon that you need to actually explain to them so they don't like take it the wrong way and make it cause some kind of trauma.
I'll always explain.
Why is the smack necessary then?
With me, a smack's a wake-up call. Anytime I smack someone, it's because their life's in danger. And it's to stop them and shock them. And that's what it is. It's not to beat them. It's just a short, sharp shock. And that's what it is. That's it. That's all they need. Every single time.
I disagree.
Every single time with the kids. And the thing is that the children that I've smacked, they were used to being beaten. So a smack is nothing. But a smack from Aunty Jenny is even worse. And you don't just smack straight away. You might get smacked after a few warnings. So you don't get smacked straight away. So I don't say, oh, you've done something wrong, I'll smack you. No, I'll talk to you and I'll explain to you. So when I was saying on that trip, we was at the beach where there's water. I've got all these children and I told them, this is your parameter and you keep on coming back, you come coming back. When I get you, I just walked up to him behind him, I was just like, Pick. And he looked and he went back. And that was it. It was over and done with. A couple of seconds, me and the child get on. But if his mother was there, I'd have to stop his. That's why his mother didn't come. If his mother was there, it would have been something different. And not only that, the child was autistic as well. So the mother didn't understand it.
Oh man! So how can you be sure that an autistic child understands what you're, what you're actually trying to tell them?
Because I'm autistic.
Right. Okay.
So I communicate on a different level.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not the first.
Yeah.
You wait till after. So it's not like, oh yeah, he got smacked all the time. He got a short start, like that was it. And it was over. So explanation, no, I've been autistic. I'm autistic, so no.
Okay. Now the issue for me is that you believe that it works. Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't believe. I know for me it worked.
You know for
me it worked.
For you it well, it obviously, it had it had an impact, but also it affected you detrimentally. Yeah, it affected you negatively in a way that you don't understand or realize. Yeah.
You tell me, how has it affected me then?
Okay. It's had the effect of making you think and feel that physical punishment is acceptable.
No.
Which it isn't.
No,
because you're justifying it.
No, because I don't see it. You see it as physical punishment. I just see a smack as not. So that's where we're going to be. We're going to agree to disagree. So maybe according to the law it is, but according to me.
You're inflicting pain on somebody. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not extreme pain, but the purpose of a smack is to cause them some pain. Yeah?
No, not much, no.
Well, what's the purpose of it then?
All right, then it's like if you're, say that somebody's fainting or something, you slap him in the face to bring him round. Same thing with a slap. My slap is to bring him round, wake you up, take you out of wherever. If you're not concentrating, when you're walking along that beach and you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to go in the water and whatever, and you're in another well, that slap will bring you right back to reality. That's what it is. But
it has a detrimental effect.
What's the detrimental effect?
Right, the detrimental effect is, I'm going to refer to research here. Okay. There in the world of psychology, there has been there's been loads of research done on this. Okay, on corporal punishment, physical punishment, and the effects of it. Okay. In 2016, there was a review of more than 70 international studies. Okay, so that is reviewing thousands of people, who have been either subjected to some kind of sort of smacking or corporal punishment. And the way that scientific research works is that you would do what's called a double blind survey. So what you would do is you'd research people who have had corporal punishment and people who haven't had any corporal punishment, and also a control group. Okay. Where you don't know whether they've had any or not, but you look at the results for just the general population, and then you compare the outcomes. Okay, so that's the gold standard of scientific research. Okay, and this review of 70 international studies showed that physical punishment, just kind of smacking, was linked to reduced compliance with parents' instructions over time, children having increased aggression and antisocial behaviour, mental health problems, and lower self-esteem. Okay? And every research study that has been done on corporal punishment shows these consistent outcomes, that basically smacking does not work. It does not have the impact that people imagine that it's gonna have, and other methods of discipline actually work way better. That's what the research shows. I mean,
so what other methods are you trying to apply?
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he's wrong. I'm saying that he's talking about smacking and beating. Now my son's 37, and as someone that believes in smacking, right? I can say that my son's been smacked twice in his life.
Yeah.
My grandchildren, I think the oldest one got smacked once or twice.
Yeah.
And the others, because I just say, you know what that means? And that's it. So, I don't think any of them are traumatized. And I think that the children, I know that the child that I smacked on that trip, I think he was just grateful that it wasn't his mother that was there.
Maybe.
So I don't think I've never, and the thing is that as a foster carer, you can't smack the child. And like I said, my son, he's only got smacked twice.
Yeah.
So I know there's other forms. There's grounding, there's taking away stuff. I know all of that. Yeah. And I'm not going to say that all don't work. And I'm saying that combined with our anger, for me, it works. No child's ever left my house traumatized. No child, they all come back. No child's ever, because, I don't know whether the children that got smacked, it was worse. It was worse what they were getting at home.
From my experience, I can say I got smacked by my mum and I got smacked by my dad, and then my culture also got smacked by my uncle and got smacked by even my older brothers. Right. And I never was an aggressive person. I never inflicted pain on other people. If anything, what it made me realize was I was not listening to what it was that they were trying to help me to prevent. And I needed some kind of like shock to reality to see that. So for instance, you know, at one point I'll come home late all the time. I must have been like 13. I remember I'd come home late from school and I'd always have some lie. Like, oh, I was playing football with my friends and da.
Yeah.
And one day my older brother, he had enough because my mum was being a bit too lenient. And he came and he just went, wham, across my face. Now, that's my older brother, so it's a bit different, isn't it? And I remember thinking, whoa, what the hell? But I'm not going to lie. For that second, I thought, I don't want another one. So let me just tell the truth. And I told the truth. And I thought, okay, the truth works. And after that, I never got hit again. So I kind of, like I said, I can kind of see both sides. I guess it might be a cultural thing. Because if you have to look, even in England, at some point, headmasters and teachers used to cane children. And did that generation turn out aggressive? Did they turn out, you know, traumatized? Like
some did, some didn't.
But
my old school,
that would have happened regardless whether they had that experience or not.
Well, at my
some form of trauma would have come in their life.
At my old school, people were caned. You know, that was still there. It's banned
Seriously,
now.
What year roughly? When roughly was that banned? Caning in the UK.
1976, I think it was.
That late?
Yeah.
What?
That early, I mean. I thought it was later than that.
I thought it was earlier than that. I thought it was like 1930s or something.
No, I thought it was later.
Okay.
I was the cane was still an option while I was at school. I was never caned.
Okay.
I was never smacked. I never smacked once as a child.
Yeah.
And you know, as a kid, I was a good kid. You know, too good.
That's why you were never smacked.
I was never smacked.
That's why you were
but
never
my own children, you know, and I know that my mum and dad would never have smacked me. That's not to say I was never punished for anything, because I would, you know, sometimes you do stupid things as a kid. That's part of growing up, isn't it? You know, but that's how you learn, isn't it? By making your own mistakes. And I've never smacked my kids, you know, I've never needed to, actually, you know, because they're great kids. And if you give them lots of love, if you give kids lots of love and lots of attention,
I definitely agree on that. Definitely.
Yeah. Then you don't need to use a lot of discipline.
Just because you smack your child, it doesn't mean you don't love them.
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying.
The thing that you got slapped for,
Yeah.
right? My son used to come home late, and as somebody who smacks, you'd think that, oh yeah, you're gonna smack him. No, if he was late half an hour, he had to be in half an hour earlier from playing out. So every time.
So you took that off. Yeah,
I took it off. So he never got smacked for that. A lot of people did. I didn't think, like I said, I smacked to prevent danger, to prevent you from hurting yourself or hurting other people.
So Aunty Jenny, give me a perfect example as to what level it would take for you to smack your child. Like, what extreme level would they have to get to for this? Because it sounds like what you're saying is you only smack them if it's necessary. So what is something that's necessary in your eyes?
If I'm like, I believe in independent children. I believe in raising them independent.
Yeah.
All my grandchildren know that when grandma says stop, you stop.
By the way, she said grandma, just so you know.
Yeah, glam.
It's not grandma, it's grandma.
I'm too glamorous to be a granny.
Yeah.
So they know that if I say stop, it means stop. If not, you get to hold my hand. And if you don't want to hold my hand and you still run off, and if I see that, I will just, and then you will not come back away from the road. That's it. That's it. So it has to be you're in danger. Like when I said I slap at a couple of kids, like we was at the beach. You know, I've got a busload of kids. I've got helpers in that. So if I tell you this is where you're going to go, this is the border, and everybody knows, and you're going to decide, no, I'm going to walk up to you. I'm not going to go, I just walk up and this. They turn around and see me and they start, nothing's being said. You know, I don't even have to speak. You know, and they're gone.
So would it be okay to do that to an adult? To smack an adult in the same way?
But if an adult's in danger, that's their problem. They're adults. I'm not responsible for them.
You definitely yell at them, though. You'd yell at them. You'd find some way of shocking their senses, for sure.
There's no reason.
But what I'm saying is there's a double standard here. Yeah. Okay. Now, something you said, Jenny, just a few moments ago, was just because you smack somebody doesn't mean you don't love them. Yeah. Okay. So, to Drazzy, can I say, under what circumstances would you smack your wife?
Never.
Exactly. Right. Why is that then?
Because she's consciously aware, she's sensible, and she's mature, and I can find other ways of getting her to see what she's doing by actually just expressing it to her because she's got that level of intelligence.
Would it be appropriate with somebody that you love as adult to adult for
smack them?
For either of them to smack each other? It wouldn't be, would it?
Do you know something, right? If I'm out with an adult, if I'm out with your wife and you're not doing something, I'm not responsible for you.
Yeah.
So if you get yourself into danger, I'm not responsible for you. If I'm out with children and they're gonna get themselves in, I'm responsible for them. So no matter what happens to them, it's my responsibility. So the two don't match.
I disagree.
And as somebody who was in an abusive relationship who got slapped around regular, I would never slap an adult. You hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. But if your wife was going somewhere in danger, I might, like, so what then? Say it was in danger. You might grab her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And just the shock of grabbing her might be even worse than slapping her. You know what I mean? But I would not. I wouldn't hit an adult because adults are responsible for themselves. Yeah. If you hit me, I'm going to hit you back.
Okay. So the point that I'm making though is that it's not appropriate. Yeah, it's not appropriate for an adult to slap or hit another adult. Yeah. There are going to be occasional exceptions when, some kind of physical force is necessary for defending yourself or something like that. But in general, in order, it's like your example of being late for school and you got a strap. Okay, then if you're an adult and you're late for work, does that mean that that you can get the strap?
But rules are rules. When my mum put me in that school, she knew what the rules were.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were right or that they were, okay, it was a different time, different culture. However, things that were acceptable at one time, we now know and understand that they're not healthy. And they're not acceptable.
Do you know something, right? I don't care what kind of laws they put in. I don't care what they say. I'm going to stick with what I'm going to stick with. Because I've had foster kids and I've seen when children don't get no discipline, what they turn out to be like. And I've seen what they do when they have no discipline because you can't tell them anything to do. And my personal view is there's too many laws here. Protect the child, yes. But sometimes you need to protect the parent. And nowadays, the children now, they've got so many laws that you've got children out there saying, if you do this to me, I'm going to call social services. Yeah. And now the parents are too scared to discipline their children, whether it's with a slap, with grounding, with taking away stuff, because everything now is abuse and they're going to get reported.
Well, I'm sorry, I got to make a point.
Go on, okay.
Peter, can you agree that children now are more disrespectful than children from your generation? There are children now that swear at people on the bus, swear at adults in the school, disrespect the teacher in the school. Can you agree that happens now way more than it did in your generation, the youth of your generation?
I would tend to agree.
Now,
but I don't.
Do you agree that your generation, they were disciplined with the belt, they were disciplined with the cane, and they were disciplined by a little smack?
There was more like physical discipline back then, but I don't necessarily believe that there's a correlation.
I believe there is 100%.
I think that I think that it's I think that there are cultural. I think that there are sort of cultural differences. I think we do live in a different world, but I think that there are. No. I think that there are. I think. Let me tell you what I think has happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you what I think has happened. I think that the reason that that behaviour has and sort of discipline has become worse is because parents are less engaged with their children these days. Now, the reason why I behaved well was because I was engaged with my parents. My parents did lots of things with me and talked to me and involved me, and we had a great relationship.
Yeah, that also works.
But as there's been more and more there's been more and more TV and social media and distractions just in the world. What I see is people engaging less and less with their children, and children being dismissed and sent off like, oh, go and play in your room. Oh, I'm watching this. I don't want to be. Their children want and crave attention.
Do you hear what he just said? Like, you tell a child, go and do that, and they can say, no, I'm watching this. Do you know what I mean? That just confirms everything.
The parents are saying that. The parents are saying that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're watching that.
The parents are, and I've seen it firsthand. parents dismissing their children, the children being desperate for their parents' attention and desperate for their parents' love, and the parents are saying, go away, I'm doing this, go away, I'm too busy, I'm watching that. There's less interaction and less engagement with children, and that's
you know what?
You're saying because of
I've
social media now, because of TV, that's why children are so rude and undisciplined.
I've got to disagree.
I'm saying that is a factor. You know that is that.
I think that's a minute factor, and the reason why I say so, in the olden days, I know from research that there were men who were working several hours and weren't home. And there were mothers who were doing several chores and never had time for the children as much as they do now. Because Aunty Jenny made a point on the last podcast you came on, where you said women have got it easier now because the washing machine is saving them 2-3 hours of washing, because they're sitting there turning the knob and it does all the work for them. So they've got more time now to engage with children, and they're refusing not to. But in the olden days, they had reasons not to have enough time to engage with children, because she's got to wash. She's got to make the marmalade from scratch. She's got to make the butter from scratch. She's got to do everything from scratch, which meant by the time the husband came home, she's probably spent maybe 1 hour out of the entire day with her child. So to me, I don't think that's a minute,
because I too work with parents and
problem.
And I can't say that it was. Maybe we had not once a month you were on a trip somewhere, or you had a day out, or a weekend you might all go to church. But no, I think that the children now, they spend more time with their parents.
They have more time with their parents than the children back then, if I'm going to be honest.
But is it more time actually engaging with their parents and engaging in a healthy way?
Yeah, but even if it isn't, the point I'm making is they never had time to engage their parents back then. Look at most adults today, probably around your age group or even younger. They'll tell you, I never had an emotional connection with my dad. It wasn't like that back then. They'll tell you that generation, their dad would never hug them, kiss them. I think if anything now, parents are a lot more emotionally involved with their children now than they were back then.
Yeah.
But yet, look at the products of the children then than compared to children now.
I'm not saying that there aren't problems, that there aren't issues, because because there are.
Yeah.
I used to work, my background, I was a policeman. Yeah. Then when I left the police, I worked for a new and youth offending team for 5 years, working with young offenders, working with, young people with real deep-rooted behaviour issues, and most of them just really angry young men,
Those are children that have been beaten.
Yeah, they are. I agree.
Right, I'm talking about a slap. I don't agree with children being beaten.
No,
I remember once I slapped my, he was screaming down the house, I slapped him. And then next one, the police was at the door. I opened the door and they said, they heard the disturbance. I said, that was a disturbance. I just give him a slap. He's screaming down the house. And they said, why? I said, he swat the neighbour. Fair enough, the neighbour swat him first, but he knew that if somebody swears at you, come and tell me, don't swear back. But the neighbour didn't say, I swat him first. The neighbour came back and said, your son swore at me. So he got a slap because don't put me in that position. Put me in a position where he tells me, you tell me first. I can go to him. And the police came and they went to see him. They said, if you don't behave yourself, then you won't get slapped. Go inside, listen to your mother, and behave yourself. Best police officers ever.
Well, I still stand by, slapping is not necessary, even if it's a little smack. It's physical violence, and it's got no place in the domestic household.
I'm old school. It's always going to have a place.
Well,
it's always going to have a place, because generations and generations and generations of my family, they've got beaten, and I've just reduced it to a slap. And as far as I'm concerned, it hasn't caused me any problems. It hasn't caused the children any problems. People give me their children knowing that I will treat them as my own.
But that's because of the culture that you grew up in.
No, not at all. Because I grew up quite English and middle class. I didn't grow up black culture.
You grew up the same place that I grew up.
And also when I came, have you ever heard of ragging?
What's that?
Exactly. And I remember a girl saying to me, have you ever heard of it?
Of ragging? I've heard of it.
Right. Well, up in West Midlands, what it means is that if your child's misbehaved, you grab her hair and pull her by her hair. And I was like, well, yeah, my mum was ragging me because I did this. I said, what's ragging?
That sounds hardcore, man.
Yeah. And it's like a common thing. When I said it was child abuse, they were looking at me like, come on, please. And I said to the girl, no, we're supposed to drag you around by your hair.
Whoa.
And it's common.
Where is this, by the way?
West Midlands.
Seriously?
It's common, ragging. When the child gets ragged. Because it's like same way how I give a slap to like wake them up.
But again, that's the culture up
And that's
there.
white people. That's white people.
Yeah. That's the culture up there, and it's perceived, it's seen as acceptable.
Bragging.
Yeah, because it's what everybody does. Yeah, that it's like it becomes normalised. Yeah.
But we can say that. I can say that beating become normalised because all around me, everybody was getting beat. I had a woman come in my house and she was staying there and she beat her kids. I ran.
This is what
me and my son ran out the house. We didn't have a clue what was going on. And then I thought, I'm running out my own house. And then I had to say, do you know what, right? Don't hit your kids in my house. Because she wasn't capable of giving a smack. And it was just like a beating. I've seen some stuff out there that I've had to step in and say, do you know what?
Yeah, because I think there's got to be some kind of like way of like...
Number one, you mustn't be angry.
Yeah, there's got to be of seeing a difference because I've seen some people like really abuse like their children, and I'm just like, whoa, like I know my mum gave me a smack, but that's not a smack.
And the children accept it because it's normal.
Oh man, it's sad. It's sad to see, but it's true. It's sad to see, it's true. So I think this is where there might be a bit of miscommunication between what we're discussing here, and the reason why we have opposing views is because I genuinely think that your idea of smacking probably is what, might be considered intentional rage or intentional violence or intentional, physical harm to someone.
I'm only talking about that.
Yeah. So you genuinely think that's abuse?
I think
that's abuse?
I think that it's not necessary. Yeah.
But do you think it's abuse?
I think that it's not necessary. And I think that if you wouldn't do it to an adult... Why would you do it to a child? Because a child
would you hold an adult's hand to walk across the street?
If they were vulnerable, I would do it. If
they were vulnerable, you would. So like I said, if they're intelligent,
a child is vulnerable, and if it was a vulnerable person, or if it was my mum when she was in her 70s, I'd say, yeah, come on, take my arm, and I'll walk across the street.
I think I have tapped an adult. I think I have. Give them like a. Especially if you're cooking and somebody come around your food.
Okay, yes. Like when they try to still meat out of the pot. But that's like a friendly gesture, kind of like
if I'm doing
humor.
If I'm doing their hair, and they put their hand in their hair, I'll get the comb. Bang.
So there are forms of that, yes.
The best way to manage that is just to drag them across the kitchen by the hair.
Ragging around the kitchen.
And give them a good kicking while they're on the floor.
You know what, let me show you guys this clip.
But you know the one thing that I think we all agree on?
Yeah.
Is that don't beat your child.
Yeah.
We're saying that we're all agreeing on don't beat your child.
But Peter definitely doesn't agree on the little smack.
No, but he's saying, I'm just saying, we disagree on smacking, but we all agree on beating.
Yeah. That's a bit too much. That's a bit too much.
So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with him disagreeing with me because I'm happy being known for the woman that gives a child a smack. Yeah. I'm happy with that.
Peter, you make me laugh, Peter. I can see on your face you're thinking, this must be a black thing.
Well, no, I mean,
do you know the weird thing is, right? Is that a smack isn't a black thing.
But it's the look on your face because you look like you're looking at some aliens. You're like, interesting. It must be the psychotherapy in you. It must be the psychotherapist. You're thinking, I could use this in my studies. Yes.
You should go and study different cultures and see what grading their beating is.
You seen the Mexicans? Have you seen the Mexicans? I've seen the Mexicans, the way they discipline their children. Whoa! I thought me as a West African.
Look at the problems they've got. Mexico City.
Hombre, I did not say this. He said this. Don't come for me, please. I beg you. I know you guys got big guns, man.
I would like. One thing that I would like to know is the young people or the people that are getting locked up or the people that are going into counselling because they've got trauma, or has it risen since caning stopped and since smacking stopped?
I believe
that since it stopped, the world is going to pop because nobody can't tell.
Because they don't know consequences anymore. They don't. Listen, I'm going to tell you a story, and to this day I stand by it. When I went to school in Ghana, I would salute my teacher when I started my day. Good morning, sir, or good morning, madam. You have to salute them. and they had canes, and they would never abuse you. They never went over the top. It was always because you did something wrong. Like maybe you're laughing in class when they're trying to teach you, mathematics, and you're like, and they say, okay, cool. What's 2 times 2? Or what's 10 times 10? Oh, so you weren't listening. Come. And then they'll grab your trousers to make sure that there's no bagginess between your buttocks and the material. And it's one. And believe in me, I learnt my times tables. Believe in me, I wasn't making fun of people in class. Believe in me, I was paying attention in class. And believe in me, it benefited me because it made me a more intelligent and more mature human being. But when I came to the UK and I saw the way kids were telling, shut up, miss.
Oh my gosh, it was horrible.
Up. I was like,
couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it.
I done the same thing.
I was scared. I was scared for the teacher, and it wasn't me being insulted. I was scared because I'm like, and then get out of the classroom. And then before he gets out, he'll curse at the teacher.
Oh, you're effing it. I'll start throwing around the tables and the chairs.
And the most discipline that they got was, I'm going to tell your mum. And the mum would come and argue with the teachers. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa. So I do believe that if they had grown up in Ghana, in the schools that I did, that boy who thought he was a hardcore guy, or that girl who thought she was a smart lip, they wouldn't have nothing to say or do.
In school, everybody's the same. In when they got discipline at school, everybody's the same. Everybody has to behave. The
class clown was never cool. The dumb guy who would be disrupting the class wasn't cool.
We didn't have them in the class.
Because he knew the consequences.
You want to be a clown, you be a clown in the playground.
Yeah.
That's what it's like in my son's school, that I've worked in a lot of schools.
Yeah.
I worked in, when I was a police officer, I worked in a lot of the schools in Newham. And some of them were just a complete war zone,
Chavy, Mike.
Except Brampton Manor, it's good.
I worked around. Brampton Manor was one of my schools, actually.
Yeah, that's my school.
It wasn't the top school at the time. I know it is now.
Yeah.
They've done fantastic things, but back in that time, it was kind of one of the better schools in the borough. But there were two schools, and there were church schools. There was
St. Bon's
and St. Angela's. Yeah,
the two worst when they meet up together.
And St. Bon's, when you walked in there, unlike any other school in the borough, you walked into St. Bonaventure's, and the discipline in there was always like military. You walked in the classroom, and everybody stood up.
Do you know something, silence. Right? You walk past, back in the day, you walk past a boy with a St. Bonaventure's uniform on, and it was like a little gentleman.
Yeah.
They saw you, there was no hanging around the streets. Yeah. They were proper. But they would see you and they would respect you. You went into the school, there's no scream. They were like,
It was studious. It was a very, it was the way that a school should be. And, it was run by the head teacher was Mike Wilshaw, who subsequently became Her Majesty's Inspector of Schools.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's where. So while I was there working in the police, he was the head teacher for St. Bon's. Then he was brought over to, I think it was it Cumberland or Eastleigh, one of those schools that was in special measures.
Yeah.
And within 2 terms, turned it around from being a complete war zone to it being, a different.
Do you know what his method was?
Entirely.
Because if you're saying it was a war zone, how did he get like people who are so unruly to be?
He commanded respect.
And how did he command the respect?
It wasn't by any sort of kind of physical violence or
dictatorship.
It was just a change of environment, a change of culture in the school. Where different standards of behaviour were expected, and any disrespectful behaviour was challenged and confronted, and not any lesser standards of behaviour were just not tolerated at all. There were consequences. There were consequences for those actions, not only for the kids, but for the parents too.
I was about to say, the parents must have been involved.
Because the parents, you're talking about primarily white working class Plaistow cohort of of people who would think nothing previously of marching up to school and saying,
Arguing.
"I want to learn somebody about my son."
Yeah.
Or about my, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it went from
I was called chavs.
Well, it went from that kind of
Asbel.
that kind of environment, and with the teachers kowtowing to the parents to, well, if you want to come and see me about your son, then you have to make an appointment. And not actually standing for any
nonsense or kind of verbal abuse.
Maybe it's a cultural thing because.
But he, as I said, he went on to be HM and Inspector of Schools, and
I think it's a cultural thing because you get not abuse, you get good discipline at home. No way you're going to misbehave at school. So all those children that were in there misbehaving at school. It's because their parents had no discipline at home and let them do whatever they wanted to do. Because you wouldn't dare misbehave at school. You think my son's going to misbehave at school?
Yeah.
My son would never misbehave at school. You know what? Because he's got me to deal with. I don't want no one in school telling him, "Oh, you was naughty," or "Do this," or put him in a room. His behaviour is my responsibility. So I don't want to hear, "Oh yeah,
you're a reflection of me."
He represents me when he leaves the house.
I saw that when I was in police. I saw that when I worked with the youth offending team, that you would go and visit these kids' homes.
You could see where their character came from.
When you saw the environment that these kids were growing up in, it didn't stand a chance. And sometimes you would, when I was a schools officer, you'd go and, if somebody from primary school, 8-year-old, had been stealing or something like that, and you'd kind of have to go around and see the parents, and when you see the environment this kid's growing up in, and you think, this kid does not stand a chance because of because of this environment, and in a few years' time, I know that I'm going to be seeing him coming through the custody suite at Forest Gate Police Station, and sure enough,
you did.
Sure enough. Yeah, that 5-6 years later, they're being nicked for something stupid, some joyriding in a car or some other nonsense.
You see,
because no discipline at home.
Because there's not only is there, sometimes there was discipline at home, but home was just chaos.
Yeah, okay.
Listen, it all starts if your house is in chaos. No, because it all starts. An undisciplined person will have an undisciplined house. And we'll have undisciplined children. So it all goes back to the adults who have no discipline. Because discipline is discipline. And if you're disciplined yourself, you can look at your life and see that everything else follows.
But sometimes the discipline was too harsh, and this is what I observed.
But
that's abuse.
But this is where I get where Aunty Jenny's coming from, because if that person is consciously aware of themselves, because they've disciplined themselves and they have some kind of like self-awareness, they would know not to do that to their child, and they will know they want the best for their child. So they will be involved with the teachers and they'll be involved with the police. Because I know at some point, police were like community kind of people. They knew people in the area. And I know at some point as well, teachers engaged with the parents and the parents engaged with the teachers. So there was always some update and some progression on your child's, mental development. But then I think it got to a stage where it was like, let the state educate my child, let the police, do what they're doing. There was the connection was gone.
I think from my experience, sometimes the community piece can be corrupt. And I had some of that in my
There were some, definitely.
I had them.
Definitely, there were some.
I was a community crime fighter, so I had for the Ministry of Justice. It was a thing. It was a thing. I got a certificate. It was a thing. I was out there clearing the streets.
Whoa!
Yeah, I was out there. Yeah. I've done victim support and everything. I was out there. But I just think that an undisciplined person will have an undisciplined house. We'll have undisciplined children.
Okay.
And abuse is abuse.
Right. Mr. Peter Phelps, I know you've got to run. So before you do, you mentioned something off camera about the girl whose video we played on the last episode I done with Aunty Jenny.
Wow. Yeah.
And you said you wanted to give a breakdown of that girl's song.
Please.
So I can't play it now, but I'll put it up on the screen for those who are watching it to see it.
Thank you for that.
And
I really know about love, the only thing I know is finesse these men. Get it how you live, don't care about the cost, I'll tease them and scanning again. I won't settle down for a bag, nigga tell me to the bank, then double this. I stop telling my dad I'm a bad one, he already know and he don't give a fuck. Now I'm 18, I'm illegal, baby, all of demand him, just wanna fuck.
What was it that you wanted to say about that girl?
Okay. When you see that again, I just wanted to look at what emotion is coming across there, yeah, because the language that she's using and the demeanour that she's putting across. Okay, she's all dressed all kind of sexy and cavorting and that, but she's coming across with anger, yeah. If you listen to it again, and
I'm not disputing you.
yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah, she's coming across with anger, yeah, okay. And so my question is, okay, where's that anger coming from? You know, this is a very angry young woman, yeah, who is, that, you know, and what she's, and it's not only how she's saying it, but it's what she's saying as well.
Yes,
is that she's got anger issues which are playing out through this video on social media, and I think that's a representation.
And I think that anger comes from her dad. So one of the things she said was, "Don't bother telling my dad. My dad knows how I am," or something. Almost like she don't respect her father.
Stop telling my dad I'm a bad one. He already know and he don't give a fuck.
The thing is, that's his side. And when we first watched it, we thought she had no discipline. Her parents, her dad can't tell her what to do.
Yeah.
Because coming from a household where there's discipline, number one, you won't be in that position, and number two, you won't be saying that about your parents.
Yeah.
But she's angry.
So either she's been beaten or had no discipline.
Or maybe the dad just didn't care about her.
Yeah,
Left the household and just left her.
She's either been she's either been
Or she got
beaten
molested.
or neglected or both.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And
But a smack would have killed that from when she was young.
Anyway, guys, listen. Let me know what you guys think, because we got to wrap it up. Let me know what you guys think. So
We'll be
leave
back.
leave it in the comments. When Peter Phelps has got more time next time, we're going to continue this discussion. But he's got patience. He's got clients.
I've got clients to see.
He's got clients to
I
see.
got a live
Yeah,
show.
Aunt Jenny's going to her show as well. I'm the lonely guy here, so I'm going to talk to you guys by yourself. Not joking, but guys, listen, like, comment, share, subscribe, leave your comments. Thank you for watching the Drazzy Show. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.
The Drazzy Show.